right, let's dive right into this explainer and build a rock-solid mental model for modern application security. Today, we're breaking down the absolute fundamentals. We're talking about how we store our most valuable secrets, how we transmit claims securely, and how we actually verify identity across the board. We're going to look at the data, the standards, and, most importantly, where the hidden catastrophic cracks in your infrastructure might be hiding right now.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll hit the modern security blueprint, life after HashiCorp Vault, choosing a secrets manager, the hidden dangers of JWTs, and finally, bulletproofing your web tokens. We're going to use a stack breakdown approach to weave all these critical layers into one cohesive blueprint.
To kick things off, we've got to ask ourselves a pretty uncomfortable question. Are your machine credentials actually secret? Think about your database passwords, your API keys, your encryption certificates. Are they locked down in a highly secure vault? Or, let's be real, are they hard-coded into some script from a frantic 2 a.m. debugging session? Don't worry, we aren't going to audit your GitHub commits today. But seriously, we have to know if these credentials are being actively managed and rotated.
Okay, Section 1, the modern security blueprint, the anatomy of access. To truly grasp this, I want you to think of your infrastructure like a highly secure bank. The secrets manager? Well, that's the heavy bank vault. It stores the raw valuables. The web token is the cashier's check in transit. It carries verified value between parties. And your identity framework? That's the bank manager, the overarching authority verifying literally everyone who walks through the front door.
Moving on to Section 2, Life After HashiCorp Vault, the 2023 licensing crisis. Let's start by looking at that heavy bank vault. For years, HashiCorp Vault was the undisputed heavyweight champion of this category. But recently, a lot of engineering teams have been scrambling for new vaults. Why? Well, it all boils down to HashiCorp moving Vault to a business source license, or BUSL 1.1, back in 2023. Essentially, what that means is Vault is now source available. It is no longer OSI-approved open source. And on top of that, HashiCorp is now an IBM company. So for teams with strict compliance or procurement rules that absolutely require open source licensing, this single vendor control was the immediate cue to pack up and look elsewhere. Combined with Vault's notoriously steep operational complexity, organizations everywhere started asking, all right, what else is out there? Which brings us to Section 3, choosing your secrets manager, the 8 alternatives. If you're migrating off Vault or just building fresh, the market has segmented in some genuinely fascinating ways. This perfectly illustrates how the big players break down right now. We've got open-source, self-hosted options like OpenBow and InPhysical. Then you have your cloud-native managers from the big 3, AWS, Azure, and Google. And finally, we've got the independent SaaS and Kubernetes-native tools like Doppler, Achilles, and the external secrets operator. Let's look at how the top open-source options stack up head-to-head. If you're going the open-source route, OpenBow is an MPL 2.0 fork governed by the Linux Foundation. Because it's completely API compatible with Vault, it acts as a super low-friction drop-in replacement. All your existing Terraform providers, they just work. InPhysical, on the other hand, is an MIT core option that is heavily optimized for developer ergonomics. It's an absolute game changer if Vault was always a bit too heavy for your needs, giving you incredibly easy secret syncing across teams with a very gentle learning curve. Now, what if you don't want to self-host at all? If your entire stack lives inside one cloud ecosystem, just using their native manager is usually the most pragmatic move. AWS Secrets Manager, for example, runs roughly 40 cents per secret per month, plus some API costs. It requires absolutely zero extra infrastructure and integrates beautifully with IAM. But keep in mind, the hidden cost here is multi-cloud lock-in. If you ever scale to a hybrid estate, you'll be stuck managing different secret systems with totally different access models, which is a massive headache.
I want to make a really quick, absolutely crucial clarifying point here, because this confusion pops up constantly. Do not buy a PAM tool, Privileged Access Management, if what you actually need is a machine secrets manager. Tools like CyberArk, Delinea, and BeyondTrust are fantastic at what they do, but they solve an entirely different problem. They govern privileged human access, like session recording and admin password vaulting. They are not built for the high-volume, dynamic application and machine secrets we're talking about right now. All right, Section 4, the hidden dangers of JWTs, vulnerabilities in transit. We've secured the vault, so let's talk about the couriers running between the vaults. I'm talking about JSON Web Tokens, or JWTs. These are those URL-safe cashier's checks passing between your microservices. They are universally popular, but because of that, they are a massive, massive target for attackers. If you look at RFC 8725, the official best current practices from the IETF,
It shows that when a malicious actor breaches an app, they almost always exploit one of these critical implementation flaws. We're talking about weak symmetric keys where human memorable passwords get brute forced offline, or ridiculous things like plain text leaking simply because data was compressed before it was encrypted, giving away the exact length of the secret. And of course, substitution attacks, where a token meant for one recipient gets hijacked and used somewhere completely different.
Seriously, look at this specific vulnerability outlined by the IETF. This hits hard. Because the JWT header explicitly tells the server which signing algorithm was used, if you aren't strictly verifying acceptable algorithms in your own code, an attacker can literally just change the header to say the algorithm is none. They tamper with the payload, fire it at your server, and your library might just shrug and bypass the signature check entirely. It just lets them right in.
Another notorious exploit is algorithm confusion. Picture this. An attacker takes a token signed with an asymmetric algorithm, like RSA256, and maliciously changes the header to a symmetric algorithm, like HS256. If your library isn't validating that properly, it gets completely tricked. It actually uses your public RSA key as the shared HMAC secret to verify the signature. And since your public key is, well, public, the attacker can now forge their own completely valid signatures. It's wild.
So, Section 5, bulletproofing your web tokens, implementing best current practices. We absolutely have to stop these transit attacks. We cannot let our cashier's checks get forged. Let's walk through the authoritative mitigations you need to bulletproof your infrastructure.
You have to implement this strict 4-step validation process. First, ensure your library only ever uses acceptable cryptographically current algorithms. Reject everything else. Second, validate your inputs, especially things like elliptic curve points, to prevent attackers from recovering your private keys. Third, strictly check the issuer and subject claims so you know the keys actually belong to a trusted source. And fourth, if your token can be used by multiple parties, you must validate the audience claim. A token intended for App A should never ever be accepted by App B.
To completely crush those cross-JWT substitution attacks, you must explicitly type your tokens. You do this by simply adding a TYP header parameter. For instance, you could use secure event plus JWT for a security event token. When you combine this explicit typing with mutually exclusive validation rules, your application becomes bulletproof against confusing two different types of tokens from the exact same issuer.
And please, never trust received claims blindly. The key ID header is often used for database lookups, and the JKU header literally contains a URL for your server to fetch keys from. If you don't sanitize these inputs, attackers will absolutely weaponize them for SQL injections, LDAP injections, or server-side request forgery. Always validate and whitelist received URLs.
Zooming all the way out to our final blueprint layer, all these tokens in transit, all those secrets locked in the vault, they're ultimately governed by your identity and access management framework. This is the bank manager. Platforms like Okta or Auth0, using protocols like OAuth, OpenID Connect, and SAML, sit at the very top of your stack. They are the secure identity fabric that orchestrates exactly who gets a token, what secrets they're allowed to see, and ensures the entire anatomy of access is robustly verified. But listen, the landscape is shifting under our feet right now. As we rapidly move from human access to agentic AI and non-human identities, the old rules are breaking. You can't just hand a raw, static secret from your vault to an AI agent. If that agent falls victim to a prompt injection attack, your secret is instantly compromised. You're going to have to put your vault behind a credential proxy, so the agent never actually holds the secret itself. Which leaves us with one final critical question for the future of your stack. Is your infrastructure actually ready for the non-human identity revolution?